Hi guys, it's Amy, and you have found Amy Loves Crochet. Thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate when you click on my videos. Today I want to share with you a blanket that I made out of an anniversary cake from Caron. I don't know about the rest of you, but when I saw this in the store for the first time, I about lost my mind. And so for those of you who have not seen the anniversary cakes before, it is a super bulky 6. It recommends an 8mm hook, and it is 100% acrylic with 1,000 grams in it, so it's pretty awesome. It is machine washable and dryable, which is one of the things that I love so much about it. Who could have imagined 1,000 grams of yarn in a single skein or a single cake of yarn? It was magnificent. I'm sure that you saw these before. There were so many different colorways, so many beautiful, beautiful colorways. And this one I really took a liking to. When I saw them in the store, I can't remember if it was just one skein of yarn or one cake of yarn left. And I don't think I cared for the color very much. And I think it was still full price at $39.99. So I saw it and was amazed by it, but I didn't buy it there. I bought it online for the first time. For the only time I bought anniversary cakes was this purchase that I made online. So I was able to find it for like $19.99 each, or maybe it was a buy one get one. I don't really remember, but I did order them through Michael's online, and when I got them, they smelled so bad of potpourri. I am not a potpourri fan, and so some stores will put out like pine cones or something that smells super strong at Christmas time, over the winter time, and I about die when I walk into those stores. I gotta hold my breath and get through that section because boo you. So I got these and they stunk really, really, really bad. And so I called up my local Michael's and asked. They did have some in stock, and I took them in and traded them out. And they actually had a different sale going on. So I really, really confused the cashier in that I didn't want to return my sale price items and purchase new sale price items. I just wanted a straight exchange, roll for roll. I didn't want to return these. I just wanted them not stinky. And so sure enough, they had enough on their shelves that I was able to trade out two that were the same die locks. I had 2 cakes of this. And so you've seen a video, I'll post that down below, where I made a bunch of hats and mittens. But then this is another something that you've seen sort of from me. I have done this stitch before in a double crochet, but here I decided to do it in a half double crochet. I really like a half double crochet, and I was looking for something a little bit different, so that's what I did here. So this is 2 rows done at the same time in a half double crochet. So you can see how quickly that works up. Especially with a bulky yarn like this. This is a 6. And so it's really, really massive. So I used a L 8mm hook. I don't know if you can see that. These are my favorite hooks, by the way. I don't know if the rest of you have found clover hooks, but I would sell my soul for one of these if they broke. And I keep seeing videos about people who buy the expensive furls hooks and they keep breaking. Yep, these will do it for me. And I found this set. We see these sets for probably like $85 or something like that, but I had found one on clearance at one point for like $35. So for a full set of, I think it's E through L, you get the hooks for. So if you see those, grab them up, because if you're like me, you know, my H hook is already in a project somewhere, my I hook is in a project, my J hook is in a project. I need doubles of all these hooks. Doubles or triples, right? So I am going to post a tutorial for the blanket if you wanted to learn this stitch, but you can see here this blue, this is 2 rows of half double crochet done at the same time. You know, it's the same front and back, but sometimes I feel like if I flip the blanket over, I can see the stitch better. That's just goofy, right? And I know that some of you have talked about the color controlling, like this would drive you insane, but because I'm working with a color changing cake, I don't mind it so much. Now, if I really, really, really cared, no, that's the top. Here's where I started. So if the brain in me wanted to really, really try to do the color controlling, I would have pulled the blue out completely, because you can tell that this blue is not a full section of that color, because that's just where I started. So if you pull out that first section and snip it off and just start with the next color, you should have a full section that is going to match through the rest of the blanket. So at this point, I could have, you know, done a couple of rows and then tied off, but I didn't want to do that, so that the rows would be even and you just have a striping blanket. I don't want to do that. I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to waste the yarn of cutting it off each time. So I just fell in love with this. This is one that was sitting next to my bed, and I was just doing it whenever I was doing it. And you don't have to think about it. It's so easy to do. And so what I did was I started with a fresh cake, like I said. So that is 1,000 grams. And what I had left is just 23 grams. So I think I did pretty good on my decision making as far as how many rows I was going to go. But then the border also was something that I thought about, because normally when I do one of these 2 rows at the same time blanket, I don't put a border on it, but I decided to this time. So what I did was a single crochet row there in the blue, you'll see. And then the green here is a half double crochet to, you know, nod the hat to the rest of the blanket. And then I did one more row of single crochets. And because I did not, you know, some people want to do a color controlling on the border as well. So you make sure your whole round is one color and then you tie off and put a new color on. But I really like the fact that in some places, see, here's the green single crochet and then the green half doubles. It gives you a different color combination, like almost on each section. So here towards the end, here was the very end of where I was. This is a long blanket, it's heavy. I was coming around in the red. So you've got the single crochet in the green, and then the half doubles in red and the single crochets in red. And then you get to the end and it ends in orange. So here, like on this section, we've got orange, red, green, blue, like all of those colors right there together. And I love that. I love that no matter where you look on the blanket, like the edging might be a little bit different, a different grouping of colors based on where we were in the cake at the time that it went around. So I really love this stitch, and I do it a lot when I don't know. When I'm between projects, that's the worst place for me to be. If I don't have something to work on and I have to think about what's my next project going to be, that brings me stress. That brings me anxiety. I do not like that. I want to have something. I'm done with this, tie it off, put it down, take the pictures, do the video, whatever, and be jumping right into the next project. I hate standing here staring at my wall trying to decide what am I going to do next. So 2 rows at the same time, whether it's my previous double crochets, 2 double crochet rows at the same time, or 2 half double crochet rows at the same time. It's really just kind of something that I like to have sitting next to the bed that you can just work on whenever. Anytime, a filler, you know, anytime in between projects where maybe this one takes a whole lot of thought. So I'm just going to put it down for right now and work on this one. So you'll see these. I try not to do the same thing over and over and over. It's, you know, we'd like to have a little bit of variety. So doing this stitch again and again and again may be boring for some, but I'm just working through my yarn, so I'm not trying to recreate the wheel here. So yeah, if you wanted to take a look at the tutorial for this, let's come on down to tabletop and I'll share that with you. So in addition to the 23 grams that I had left from this one cake making that blanket, I do have some other leftover that totals, with this, I've got about 333 grams left to work on some more hats. Alrighty, here is one of my most favorite ways to crochet is 2 rows at the same time, because you just knock through it so quickly. But what you can see here is technically 3 rows of the yellow color. So here is 2 rows together. Here is 2 rows together on the back side. And here is 2 rows together at the next. So what you can see here is back loop only. Here where you can see this front loop hanging out, that's because I went into the back loop only. You don't have to do that. You can go into both loops if you want to. And the blanket will still be as beautiful and still work up just as quickly. And you're just going to be missing this sort of extended ridge, you know, this little bit of texture here of every other row popping out on the other side like this. So let's go ahead to the tutorial. All right, so to do our project with 2 half double crochet rows at the same time, you can really use any yarn you want. I'm just using a Caron donut scrapper, and I just grabbed my 5.5mm hook because it was handy. But I did want to talk real quick about the anniversary cake that I used for the blanket. And I just wanted to share with you how splitty that yarn was. See how I barely even start to unwind it a little bit and it splits right off. So I know that you're already really careful when you're crocheting and pulling through all your threads at once, or to make sure that you get all of the pieces of that strand at the same time. But if you end up with something that's a little bit splitty like this, kind of be careful, because this was a headache. The one little headache about this project was how splitty that yarn was. So go ahead and make a slip knot on your hook and chain out as many as you want your project to be wide, and you really can do whatever you want. So I'm just going to do 10 for this tutorial. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I also always use stitch markers, so make sure you've got some, because this one allows for you to miss the end stitch very, very easily. So once you have your desired number of chains on your hook, go ahead and chain 4 more. Whoops, my tension. Go ahead and chain 4 more. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that is essentially your turning chain and the first of your 2 double rows, two half double crochet rows at the same time. So what we're going to do is work into the 3rd and the 5th stitch from your hook. And so 1, 2, 3, you're going to yarn over and grab this first loop, and then yarn over 4, 5. Go into that stitch, yarn over and pull up, and kind of give yourself a minute. You should have 5 loops on your hook at this point. You're going to yarn over and pull through 3, just like a half double crochet. Yarn over and pull through 3. And you've just done 2 rows at the same time. And those are 2 stitches. Your chain of 4 that you did is your first one, so go ahead and mark that, because it'll be real easy to skip on the way back around. So this is essentially your first of 2 half double crochets, and here is your second of 2 half double crochets. Should be at now, and we're going to go right into this middle stitch right here. The first one's always a little bit fiddly to get into, but after that you'll get going with it, I promise. So this center guy here, that's what we're going to be going through. So yarn over and pick him up, and then yarn over and go into the next open stitch, which we're coming out of here, so we're going to go right into there. And do your yarn over and pull through. You should have 5 loops on your hook. Even though these are a little bit twisty, you got to see that they're there. And yarn over and pull through 3, yarn over and pull through 3. So you've just done 2 rows of half double crochet. So then again, here, this guy in the center right here, I'm going to yarn over and go right into that, yarn over, go to the next open stitch, pull up, go through 3, go through 3. So this is the whole project all the way down. You're going to just grab that loop to go into, and it's creating the second row. So here in the center again, yarn over, go through that center loop, yarn over, go down into the base. So go ahead and continue working that until you get to the end of your row. I'm almost there, so we'll just keep working it. You can see how quickly you can start moving, and you've got 2 rows done all of a sudden. I really enjoy this stitch and what it means to me that I can be done twice as fast. So you can hear a motorcycle outside. Somebody's riding around. Got 2 more stitches. Through 3, and then my last one here. Whoops. Through 3 and pull through 3. So this is what you should be looking like. I really like this stitch. All right, so let's go on to round 2. So get yourself 4 chains, 2, 3, 4. And now I kind of turn differently for this project, maybe than I do other projects. So I'll kind of show you why I do that. So what we need to do is yarn over and go into the third hook here, the third stitch. And then we're going to turn the work and go into the base. And it's just easiest for me to do it like this. So we're going to yarn over, go through the third hook, 1, 2, 3. I keep saying that, the third loop. And then as I'm turning it, I do my yarn over. And then here's the second one. This is going to count for the first stitch. So we're going into this stitch. Whether you want to do back loop only like I do to get that ridge, or if you just want to go straight into the project, which I'll do for the tutorial to show you. And then we yarn over and go through 3, yarn over and go through 3. Now, here again is that little skinny side chain stitch that is so easy to skip. So it will behoove you to mark that stitch. And then we're going to follow the same pattern all the way down. Yarn over, here's the middle one that we want. And then yarn over again and go into the base. Yarn over, pull through 3, yarn over, pull through 3. Yarn over. See, here's that middle stitch that we want right here. Yarn over and go into the base. So you'll see here on the front side of these stitches, here's the one that we want is in the middle child. I love a middle child. I'm a middle child. And then here's the one that sort of connects the stitch prior to the next one. But we're going to continue to go through that middle of the 3. Not the third, the middle of the 3. So continue that on to the rest of your project. And I work it like this because when I pull that, my hand is automatically yarning over again. It just becomes one full swoop, if you will, one sort of movement. So I wanted to show you when you get to the end how easy it is to skip that stitch, that last stitch, if you didn't mark it. I need some more yarn. Come here. Okay, we've got 2 more. Now I'm going to go ahead and take out my stitch marker so that we can see what it looks like when you're done and how easy it is to miss and why I make sure to mark it. So again, that middle loop, yarn over, go into the stitch, and now you might think you're done. It kind of looks like you're at the end of the row. And if you're tired or you're watching TV or something, you may very easily miss that last stitch, and then you're going to be off all the way through. So that's why I mark that stitch so specifically. So yarn over, grab that one, and then at this point, I just kind of stab into it. If you were to grab the top 2 loops like you do, it sort of pulls it out. So on this one, I go ahead and just kind of stab into it so that it lays the way that so that it lays nicely and will look closed up on the edge there. 3 and 3. See? I really like the way that looks. So there we go. We're going to chain 4 for the next round. And then here again is where I take my yarn over, go through the 3rd loop, yarn over again as I'm turning, and then go into the base. However you can accomplish getting that done, you go right ahead. So again, here's that little booger that's going to mess us up if we don't mark him. So I make sure to mark him. And then you go on until you are as long as you want your project to be. Because of the interesting nature of this project, I don't normally do a border, but I just thought it was so pretty for the one that I was working on. I wanted to go ahead and use up that yarn besides, so I put a border on it. But otherwise, you're just going to be done. And this is, you know, the flatter look when you're not going into back loop only. So Your sides sort of look the same either way, you can tell. This is the back side of that row, and this is the front side of this row. Alrighty guys, hope you enjoyed the tutorial. If you try out this pattern, let me know how it goes. Thanks so much for joining me today. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.